Listen to me now, and listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you will shake the very foundation of the illusions you have been building for years. I have walked this earth. I have studied the mysteries hidden in the spaces between letters, between breaths, between souls, and I have seen something that terrifies even those who claim to be fearless. Women who wake up one morning, decades from now, utterly alone. No hand to hold, no voice calling their name, no one coming through that door, just silence. Cold, unforgiving silence. And the question that burns like fire in their hearts: how did I get here? I am Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and I do not speak to you from a place of judgment, but from a place of deep, profound love for your soul. I have hidden in caves to protect sacred wisdom. I have faced darkness so thick you could touch it. And I have emerged with truths that most teachers are too afraid to share. Today, I share one of them with you. This truth is not comfortable. It will not make you smile at first, but it will save you from a fate worse than death. The fate of being forgotten while you are still alive. You see, there is a woman I want you to imagine. She's sitting in her living room right now. Maybe it is afternoon, maybe evening. The light is fading outside her window. She has everything she thought she wanted. A nice home, some savings in the bank, her independence. She fought for it after all. She refused to compromise. She refused to settle. And now, at 68 years old, she sits there with her tea getting cold, and she realizes something that makes her chest tighten with panic. There is no one coming. Not tonight. Not tomorrow. Not next week. The phone does not ring anymore. The children, if she has them, are busy with their own lives, their own families, their own problems. And the man she once shared her life with? He is somewhere else now, perhaps with someone who made different choices, someone who understood something she did not. This is not a story. This is a reality playing out in millions of homes across the world right now, at this very moment. And I want you to ask yourself, with brutal honesty, is this the path you are on? Now, before you turn away, before you tell yourself, that will not happen to me, let me take you deeper. Let me show you exactly how this happens, step by step, decision by decision, because the Kabbalah teaches us that nothing in this universe occurs by accident. Everything is cause and effect. Everything is energy manifesting into form. And the loneliness of old age? It begins today, right now, in the choices you're making or refusing to make in this very moment. You wake up in the morning and you tell yourself you are fine, you are strong, you are independent. And these things are true. I celebrate your strength. But strength without wisdom is like a sword without a handle. It cuts the one who wields it. You have spent years, perhaps decades, building walls to protect yourself. Walls against hurt, walls against disappointment, walls against the vulnerability that relationships demand. And these walls have served you. They have kept you safe from pain. But they have also kept out something else. Connection. Deep, soul-level connection. The kind of connection that sustains a human being when the body grows frail and the world grows cold. The Kabbalah teaches us about vessels and light. You, my dear one, you are a vessel. And love, connection, intimacy, these are the light that fills the vessel and gives it purpose. A vessel that refuses to receive light does not stay empty. It cracks. It deteriorates, because vessels were designed to be filled. This is not weakness. This is cosmic law. So you go about your days, you work, you manage your life. You have your routines, your comforts, your small pleasures. And you tell yourself that this is enough. But late at night, when the distractions fall away, you feel it, do you not? That hollow space inside. That ache that has no name. That sense that something vital is missing, like a color you once knew but can no longer see. And here is where the fear should begin to creep in, because time, my beloved, time does not wait. Time does not care about your healing journey or your self-discovery process. Time moves forward, relentlessly, and with each passing year, the options narrow. The possibilities shrink. The door closes a little more. Let me be brutally honest with you now, because I love you too much to lie. If you had a partner, a husband, someone who once loved you, and that relationship ended, whether through divorce or separation or simply growing apart, and you have spent the years since then finding yourself and working on yourself and not settling, let me tell you what is happening in the realm you cannot see. That man, unless he was truly damaged beyond repair, has not stopped living. He has not put his life on pause. While you have been attending workshops and reading self-help books and waiting to feel ready, he has been moving forward. And here is the truth that will make your blood run cold. Men, unlike women, do not face the same biological clock. A man at 50, 60, even 70 can still attract younger women. He can still build a family. He can still start fresh. And many of them do exactly that. Right now, this very moment, your former husband, or the man you let go, or the man you pushed away because he was not perfect enough, might be having dinner with someone new. Someone who makes him laugh. Someone who accepts him as he is. Someone who gives him the warmth and admiration and uncomplicated affection that perhaps you withheld because you were too busy being wounded, too busy being right, too busy protecting yourself. And she, this other woman, she will be there with him in 20 years. She will hold his hand when he faces health scares. She will sit beside him at family gatherings. She will be the one he introduces to everyone. She will be the one who inherits not just his assets, but his presence, his attention, his care. And where will you be? Alone in that house with the cold tea, wondering how your life became so small, so silent, so empty of the only thing that truly matters when everything else falls away: love. Does this frighten you? Good. It should. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is a messenger, and right now it is trying to wake you up before it is too late. But it gets worse. Do you want to know what really happens in old age when you are alone? Let me paint you the complete picture, because the Kabbalah teaches us to face reality, not hide from it. The spiritual world and the physical world are mirrors of each other, and what you create energetically today manifests materially tomorrow. You are 75 now. Your health is beginning to fail. Maybe it is your heart, maybe your bones, maybe your mind beginning to slip. You need help with basic things. Cooking has become difficult, cleaning exhausting. The simple act of getting dressed takes half an hour because your fingers do not work the way they used to. And you realize, with horror, that you need someone. You cannot do this alone anymore. So you call your children, if you have them. And they love you, of course they do, but they are busy. They have jobs, mortgages, their own children to raise. They visit once a month, maybe twice if you are lucky. They call on Sundays. They feel guilty, but not guilty enough to change their entire lives for you. Because that is not how the world works anymore. That is not how you raise them, if we are being honest. You taught them independence. You taught them to prioritize their own happiness. And now they are doing exactly that. So you hire help. Strangers who come to your house, who are kind enough, professional enough, but who do not love you. They do the tasks they are paid to do, and then they leave. They do not stay to talk. They do not hold your hand when you are scared. They do not sit with you in the long, dark hours when the pain is worst and the fear most acute. They are there for a paycheck, not for you. And here is the cruelest part. Men do not face this fate as often, because men who stayed connected, men who remained in relationships, men who did not push away love in the name of self-protection, they have partners, wives who stay, who care, who show up day after day after day, even when it is hard, even when it is thankless, because that is what commitment means. That is what choosing love over fear creates. I have seen this pattern repeat itself thousands of times across thousands of years. The woman who prioritizes everything except the cultivation of deep, lasting partnership ends up abandoned by life itself. Not because she is bad or wrong or undeserving, but because she did not understand the fundamental laws of the universe. The law of reciprocity, the law of vessels and light, the law that says what you do not feed dies. And the worst part, the absolute worst part that I must tell you, even though it pains me to say it, you will know. You will be aware. Lying in that hospital bed or nursing home or empty house, you will have all the time in the world to think, to remember, to regret. You will remember the man you rejected because he did not make enough money. The man you criticized because he did not read your mind. The man you left because you were bored, because the initial passion faded, because you believed the lie that you deserved constant excitement and perpetual romance. And you will wonder, no, you will know, that he found someone else. Someone who appreciated what she had. Someone who built with him instead of tearing down. And she is beside him now, while you are alone with your principles and your pride and your empty righteousness. This is not about blame. This is about cause and effect. This is about understanding that every choice creates a future. And the future you are creating with your current choices might be one you absolutely do not want to live. Are you feeling it now? That tightness in your chest, that panic rising, that voice in your head screaming, "But what can I do? Is it too late for me?" Hold that feeling. Do not push it away, because that discomfort is your soul trying to break through the delusions, trying to show you the truth before the window closes completely. But here is where it gets even darker, and I need you to stay with me, because we have not reached the bottom yet. We have not faced the deepest terror. There is something worse than being alone in old age. There is something worse than having no one to care for you. Do you know what it is? It is watching the man you once had, the man you pushed away, the man you deemed not good enough, living a beautiful life without you. It is seeing him, through social media or through mutual acquaintances, happy, fulfilled, surrounded by family, grandchildren even, building the exact life you told yourself you did not want, only to realize too late that you wanted it desperately. You just did not know how to receive it. You did not know how to be the woman who could sustain it. I have studied the deepest mysteries of creation. I have accessed realms of consciousness that most humans never touch. And I tell you this with absolute certainty. The greatest suffering in this universe is not physical pain. It is the pain of missed opportunity. The pain of looking back at your life and seeing clearly with devastating clarity all the moments when love was offered and you turned away. All the chances you had to build something real and you chose temporary comfort instead. all the times a man tried to reach you and you met him with walls instead of warmth. This regret, this soul-crushing awareness that you are the architect of your own isolation, this is the hell that mystics speak of. Not a place of fire and demons, but a place of absolute clarity about all you could have had and all you destroyed through fear and pride and the belief that you had infinite time to figure it all out. And here is the thing that should terrify you most of all. You do not have infinite time. The sand is running through the hourglass right now. Every day that passes, you become less visible to men. This is not cruelty. This is biology. This is reality. Men are attracted to youth and vitality and feminine energy that has not been hardened by bitterness. If you are 45, you have perhaps 20 good years left to build the relationship that will sustain you in old age. If you are 55, you have perhaps 10. If you are 60, the window is closing so fast you can hear it slam shut even from here. And in that time, you need to not only meet someone, but also undo all the defensive patterns you have built. You need to learn how to be vulnerable again, how to trust again, how to stop testing and start receiving, how to stop proving you do not need anyone, and start admitting that you do. Because you do. We all do. This is not weakness. This is the human condition. Even I, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, even I who communed with the divine, needed companions, needed my wife, needed my son, needed community. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying or deluded or trying to sell you something. So what happens when you refuse to face this? When you keep telling yourself the comfortable lies? I am focusing on myself right now. When the right person comes along, I will know. I do not need a man to complete me. These statements are poison disguised as empowerment. Yes, you do not need a man to complete you, but you need connection to fulfill you. You need intimacy to nourish you. You need partnership to sustain you through the winter years that are coming faster than you think. And if you keep waiting, keep hesitating, keep rejecting available men because they do not match your checklist or make your heart race like it did when you were 25, let me tell you what happens next. Those men move on. They find women who say yes instead of maybe. Women who appreciate instead of evaluate. Women who build instead of test. And these women, they will be cared for in old age. They will have someone bringing them soup when they are sick. Someone to laugh with when the world feels heavy. Someone whose hand they can hold when the darkness comes. And it always comes eventually. What about attachment and independence? You are thinking this right now. I can feel it. You are thinking, but what about my independence? What about not being needy? Let me clear up this confusion with the wisdom of Kabbalah, because this is where most modern women have been catastrophically misled. The Kabbalah teaches us about the 10 Sephirot, the 10 emanations through which the infinite light of the Ein Sof, the limitless divine, flows into the finite world. At the top we have Keter, the crown, the divine will, and at the bottom we have Malchut, the kingdom, the physical manifestation. But here is the crucial understanding. None of these Sephirot can exist alone. They are interdependent. They flow into each other. They need each other to function. Chesed, loving kindness, needs Gevura, strength and boundaries, to balance it. Netzach, endurance, needs Hod, humility, to complete it. And Tiferet, beauty and harmony, exists only in the balance of all the others. You are not meant to be independent. You are meant to be interdependent. There is a vast difference. Independence says, I need no one. Interdependence says, I am whole within myself, and I choose to share that wholeness with another whole person to create something greater, than either of us alone. Do you see the difference? One comes from fear and trauma and protection. The other comes from abundance and strength and spiritual maturity. The women who end up alone did not get there because they loved themselves too much. They got there because they confused self-protection with self-love. They confused walls with boundaries. They confused rejecting help with being strong. And these confusions, these misunderstandings, they cost you everything in the end. Let me tell you about the nature of masculine energy. Because if you do not understand men, you cannot possibly build a lasting relationship with one. And I do not mean understanding their hobbies or their sports teams. I mean understanding their souls, their core programming, the divine masculine energy that flows through them. Men need to feel needed. This is not weakness. This is not toxic masculinity. This is fundamental to how the masculine energy operates in the universe. The masculine is about giving, providing, protecting, solving, building. When you reject a man's help, when you refuse his offers, when you constantly demonstrate that you do not need him for anything, you are not showing strength. You are cutting off his ability to feel purposeful in your presence. You are telling his deepest self that he has no place in your life. A man can have all the money in the world, all the success, all the freedom. But if he does not feel needed and appreciated by a woman he cares about, he feels empty. And he will go find a woman who allows him to fill that need. It does not matter if she is younger, prettier, smarter, or any of that. What matters is how she makes him feel about himself. If she lights up when he walks in the room, if she thanks him for small gestures, if she allows him to be her hero in everyday moments, that man will move mountains for her. He will be there in sickness and health. He will be there when the youth fades and the beauty changes, because she feeds something in him that is far deeper than physical attraction. But you, if you have spent years showing men you do not need them, if you have responded to their offers with, "I have got it, and I can handle it myself, and I do not need your help," then you have trained them to stay away. You have taught them that their masculine energy is not welcome here. And they have listened. They have moved on to women who receive them with gratitude instead of resistance. Is this fair? Perhaps not. But the universe does not operate on fairness. It operates on energetic laws, on cause and effect, on the principle that like attracts like, and what you give out comes back to you multiplied. Now, right now, stop and think about the last time a man offered to help you with something. Maybe it was carrying something heavy. Maybe it was fixing something in your home. Maybe it was advice about a problem. How did you respond? Did you brush him off? Did you minimize his offer? Did you prove you could do it yourself? If you did, you rejected more than just help. You rejected him. You rejected the opportunity for connection. You rejected the chance to create the reciprocal flow of energy that builds relationship. The women who are alone in old age, they have patterns. They always have the last word in arguments. They always need to prove they are right. They always lead with their masculine energy, doing, fixing, controlling, managing, and wonder why men do not pursue them. And here is the devastating truth. Men do not pursue masculine energy. Men pursue feminine energy, not weakness, not helplessness, but receptivity, warmth, appreciation, the ability to let him lead sometimes without needing to take over, the ability to receive his gifts without immediately finding what is wrong with them. Think about it. Really think about it. When you go on dates or meet new men, are you evaluating them like a job interview? Are you looking for reasons to disqualify them? Are you keeping score of everything they say wrong while ignoring everything they do right? If the answer is yes, then you are operating from a masculine, penetrating energy. You are auditioning men for a role instead of exploring connection with a human being. And men feel this. They feel when they are being judged rather than enjoyed. And they run. Not because they are afraid of strong women, but because they are looking for women who actually like men, who actually want partnership rather than domination. The clock is ticking louder now. Every moment you spend in these defensive patterns, these protective behaviors, is a moment you could be building something real. And time is the one resource you cannot buy more of. You cannot negotiate with time. You cannot outsmart it or work harder to gain it back. It flows forward whether you use it wisely or waste it entirely. So what will your 75-year-old self thank you for? Will she thank you for standing your ground in that argument that did not matter? Will she thank you for rejecting that good man because he did not have the exact career trajectory you imagined? Will she thank you for prioritizing your comfort zone over your growth? Or will she look back with anguish and wish you had been braver, more open, more willing to take the risk of loving and being loved? I need you to imagine her right now, your future self, sitting alone, looking back at this exact moment. What would she tell you? What would she beg you to do differently? Listen to her. She knows things you do not know yet. She has lived the consequences of choices you have not made yet. And she is screaming at you to wake up, to change course, to stop sabotaging your own chance at lasting love before the option is no longer available. But there is still hope. Do you feel that? Underneath the fear and panic, there is a whisper of hope. Good. Hold on to that. Because now we are going to turn the corner. Now we are going to move from what terrifies you to what can save you. But you had to feel the fear first. You had to face the real possibility of ending up alone. Because without that motivation, without that urgency, you will go back to your comfortable patterns, your safe behaviors, your slow march toward isolation. The Kabbalah speaks of teshuvah, which is often translated as repentance, but really means return. Return to your true self. Return to the path. Return to alignment with divine will. And return is always possible. Always. Until your last breath, return is possible. But return requires something most people are unwilling to give. Radical honesty about where you are and how you got here. So let us get radically honest right now. If you are alone, or if your relationship is dying, or if you keep attracting unavailable men, or if you keep pushing away available ones, the common denominator is you. Not in a blaming way, not in a shameful way, but in an empowering way. Because if you are the common denominator, then you also hold the power to change the pattern. You do not have to wait for men to change, or the world to be different, or your past to be rewritten. You can change yourself, your energy, your approach, starting this moment. Here is the first practical step, and I want you to really hear this, because it will transform everything if you apply it. You must become the woman who receives. What does this mean? It means when a man offers to help you, you smile and say, "Thank you, I would appreciate that." Even if you could do it yourself. Even if his way is not exactly how you would do it. You receive his gift. You let him feel needed. You allow him to fulfill his masculine role. It means when he gives you a compliment, you do not deflect it or minimize it or turn it into a joke. You look him in the eyes and say, "Thank you." You let the compliment land. You let him see that his words affected you, that he has the power to make you feel good. Men need to know they have impact on you. When you brush off everything they do, they feel powerless in your presence, and that feeling is unbearable for masculine energy. It means you stop treating your life like a fortress that no one can enter without passing impossible tests. You lower the drawbridge. You let people in before they have proven themselves perfect. Because no one is perfect, including you. And the standard you are holding men to is one you yourself could never meet. Becoming a woman who receives is not about being passive or weak or helpless. It is about being secure enough in yourself that you can accept gifts, help, love, attention without fear that receiving makes you somehow less than. The divine feminine energy is receptive by nature. The earth receives the rain and transforms it into abundance. The moon receives the light of the sun and reflects it back as beauty. You are meant to receive. It is your spiritual nature. When you block receiving, you block your own divine design. Here is the second practical step. You must stop punishing new men for what old men did to you. Every time you bring your past hurts into a new interaction, you poison that interaction before it even begins. I understand you were betrayed. I understand you were disappointed. I understand you gave your heart and it was broken. But that was then. This is now. This is a different man. He is not responsible for healing your wounds. He is not responsible for proving he is different from your ex-husband or ex-boyfriend. He is responsible only for showing up as himself. When you meet a new man with suspicion, with tests, with the energy of prove to me you are not like the others, you have already failed, because you are not present to who he actually is. You are fighting ghosts, and he will feel that. He will feel that he is being tried for crimes he did not commit. And unless he has very low self-esteem, he will leave. The Kabbalah teaches us that each moment is new creation. The Ein Sof is creating the entire universe fresh in every single instant. Last moment does not create this moment. This moment springs from the infinite source. If the divine can create fresh in every moment, so can you. You can meet each man fresh. You can give each interaction a clean slate. You can choose to see what is actually there instead of projecting what you fear might be there. This is not naive. This is not setting yourself up to be hurt again. This is being spiritually mature enough to distinguish past from present, fear from reality. Yes, you use your discernment. Yes, you pay attention to red flags. But you do not create red flags out of your anxiety. You do not test men to see if they will fail. You give them the opportunity to succeed. Here is the third practical step, and this one will challenge you deeply. You must cultivate admiration for men again. I can feel some of you recoiling already. But men have hurt me. But men are selfish. But men only want one thing. And yes, some men are all of those things. But you know what? Some women are all of those things too. Humans hurt each other. This is the nature of being wounded creatures trying to connect. But if you walk around with contempt for men in general, if your default view is that men are less evolved or emotionally stunted or fundamentally selfish, then you will never attract a good man. Never. Because men can feel your contempt the moment they meet you. It radiates from you like cold wind, and men run from women who do not like men. This is basic energetic law. You must find your way back to seeing the good in masculine energy. The strength, the loyalty, the problem-solving, the protectiveness, the way good men show love through action rather than words, the way they carry burdens without complaining, the way they fix and build and provide and stand between their loved ones and danger. Men do these things. Good men do these things every single day, unnoticed and unappreciated. And if you cannot see it, if you cannot value it, you do not deserve to receive it. I know this sounds harsh, but I am speaking to you like I would speak to my own daughter if she was walking toward a cliff. I love you too much to let you keep believing the lies that will destroy your chance at happiness. So here is what you do. Start noticing good men, not perfect men, good men. The man who holds the door, the man who helps his elderly neighbor, the man who works hard to support his family, the man who fixes things without being asked, the man who stands up for what is right even when it costs him. These men are everywhere. But you have not been seeing them because you have been looking for reasons they are not good enough. Make it a practice. Every day, find 3 things to appreciate about men in general. Not a specific man you are dating, just men. Maybe it is something you see a father do with his child. Maybe it is something you read about a man who invented something that makes life better. Maybe it is something a male colleague does at work. Train your mind to see masculine value again, because what you appreciate multiplies. This is spiritual law. When you genuinely appreciate something, more of it flows into your life. And when you do meet a man you are interested in, practice admiration. Find things about him that you genuinely respect and let him know. Not flattery, not manipulation, genuine admiration. I really appreciate how hard you work. I love how patient you are with your nieces. I admire the way you handled that difficult situation. Men are starving for genuine admiration from women. Starving. The woman who gives this freely and sincerely becomes like water in a desert. He will be drawn to her in ways that transcend logic. Here is the 4th practical step. You must become a woman who adds to a man's life rather than complicating it. Think about how you show up in relationship. Are you drama-free, or are you creating problems that do not need to exist? Are you easy to please, or do you find something wrong with every gesture? Are you fun to be around, or are you constantly processing your emotions out loud in ways that drain him? Are you grateful or entitled? Are you warm or critical? Men at midlife have been through enough. They have been through divorces, demanding careers, financial stress, aging parents, all of it. When they consider a relationship at this stage, they are asking themselves one simple question. Will this woman make my life better or more complicated? If the answer is more complicated, they opt out. They stay single. They stay casual. They do not commit. Because they have learned that a complicated woman is not worth it, no matter how attractive or successful she is. So become the woman who makes his life better. This does not mean you do not have needs. This does not mean you do not speak up. This does not mean you become a doormat. It means you manage your own emotional state. It means you do not expect him to be your therapist. It means you bring joy and peace and pleasure into his world, instead of anxiety and processing and drama. When you are with him, is he relaxed or on edge? Does he look forward to seeing you, or does he feel exhausted just thinking about navigating your moods? This is the acid test. If being with you feels like work to him, he will not stay. He will not commit. He might keep seeing you casually, because men are weak for beauty and sexual connection, but he will not build a life with you. He will build his life with a woman who feels like home, not like a battlefield. Think right now about the energy you bring into relationships. Really think about it. Are you the woman a man wants to come home to? Or are you the woman he wants to escape from? This is not about changing who you are fundamentally. This is about cleaning up the defensive patterns, the bitterness, the need to control everything, the inability to let things be easy. Men want easy at this stage. Not stupid, not shallow, but easy. Easy to talk to, easy to spend time with, easy to make happy. If you make everything hard, if You turn every conversation into a deep processing session. If you cannot just be present and enjoy the moment without analyzing it to death, you are making yourself undesirable for commitment. This is the hard truth. The fifth practical step is this. You must accept that attraction is not negotiable, but it is expandable. What do I mean? I mean that you cannot negotiate yourself into being attracted to someone. You cannot should yourself into desire. If the chemistry is not there, it is not there. But, and this is crucial, most women write off men far too quickly based on shallow criteria. He is not tall enough. He is balding. He does not make enough money. He is not exciting enough. These are surface judgments that completely miss what actually creates lasting attraction. Real attraction, lasting attraction, grows from how a man makes you feel about yourself and about life. It grows from respect and admiration and shared values and being genuinely enjoyed. I have seen countless women who initially were not that attracted to a man fall deeply in love with him once they actually spent time with him. Once they saw his character, once they felt how he treated them. And I have seen countless women who were wildly attracted to men at first sight end up in miserable relationships because chemistry without compatibility is just expensive suffering. So the practice is this. If a man is kind, if he treats you well, if he is responsible and has good character and genuinely seems interested in you, give him a real chance even if you do not feel fireworks immediately. Go out with him 3 or 4 or 5 times. Let him show you who he is. Let your nervous system relax enough to actually feel what is there beyond the surface. You might be amazed at how attraction can grow when you give it space and time instead of demanding instant magic. This does not mean date someone you find repulsive. This does not mean ignore complete incompatibility. But it means expanding your range. It means questioning whether your criteria are actually serving you, or whether they have been formed by fairy tales and movies and a culture that has lied to you about what creates lasting love. The women I have known who built beautiful late-life partnerships did not end up with the most handsome or richest or most charismatic men. They ended up with good men, solid men, men who showed up consistently, men who were kind to waiters and generous with friends and responsible with money and patient with flaws. And these women learned to see the attractiveness in those qualities. They learned to be turned on by character instead of just chemistry. And they created relationships that lasted, that sustained them through hard times, that kept them from ending up alone. Now let me talk to those of you who are thinking, but what if I am already in my 60s? What if it really is too late? Listen to me carefully. It is never too late to change your energy. It is never too late to become the kind of woman who attracts partnership. But you do not have time to waste. You do not have time for more years of therapy where you process the same issues over and over. You do not have time for more spiritual retreats where you find yourself and then come home and act exactly the same. You need immediate, practical action. If you are 60 or older and want a partner to care for you in your final years, here is what you need to do right now, today. 1. Get online. Yes, online dating. I do not care if you think it is beneath you or uncomfortable or scary. This is where people meet now. Create a profile that is warm and open and shows you as someone who is still engaged with life. Not bitter. Not listing all your requirements. Not talking about how disappointed you have been. Show yourself as someone who still has joy and curiosity and capacity for connection. 2. Say yes to every appropriate invitation. If a decent man asks you to coffee, you go. You do not have the luxury of being picky about whether it is the perfect venue or the perfect timing. You go, you show up, you give it a chance. The worst that happens is you spend an hour with someone who is not right for you. The best that happens is you meet someone who changes the trajectory of your old age. 3. Stop talking about your exes and your past hurts. I do not care how much therapy you have done or how much you need to process. When you are on dates, you focus on the present and future. You focus on who you are now and what you are looking forward to. Nothing kills attraction faster than a woman who cannot stop talking about how she was wronged. It signals you are not over it. It signals you are still a victim. And men run from victim energy because they know they will be the next person you eventually blame. 4. Lower your physical standards and raise your character standards. I am not saying accept someone you find unattractive, but I am saying that belly and gray hair and average height do not matter in the face of kindness and generosity and genuine care. The man who will take care of you at 80 might not look like the man you fantasized about at 30. He might look very ordinary. But his character, his consistency, his desire to have a partner, that is what will sustain you. 5. Be willing to take care of him too. This is not about you finding a caretaker. This is about mutual partnership. If you are only looking for someone to serve your needs, you will fail. You need to have something to offer. Companionship, warmth, appreciation. Someone he enjoys being around. Someone who makes his life better too. It is exchange. It is reciprocity. Make sure you are someone worth choosing, not just someone with needs. 6. Move fast once you find someone decent. You do not have time for years of casual dating. If you meet a good man who treats you well and wants commitment, you lean in. You commit. You build with him. Because the clock is ticking and your pool of options is shrinking every day. This is not settling. This is accepting reality and acting accordingly. I want to share something with you now. Something from my own experience that might help. When I was in that cave, hiding from persecution, living in the most extreme conditions imaginable, I had my son Elazar with me. But I also had my wife waiting, praying, maintaining our home and our memory in the world above. She did not abandon me. She did not decide she deserved better than a man living in a cave. She stayed connected to our bond, to our commitment, to the love we had built before circumstances turned dark. And when I emerged, when I finally came back into the world after those years of isolation and study, do you know what sustained me in reintegrating? Not just my spiritual revelations, not just my mystical knowledge. It was having someone to come home to, someone who knew me, someone who shared my history, someone whose presence reminded me I was still human, still connected to this world, still needed and wanted. That is what partnership gives you. It keeps you tethered to humanity when the winds of life try to blow you away. It gives you reason to keep going when everything else seems meaningless. It provides the simple, profound comfort of not being alone in your experience of existence. And this is why the stakes are so high. This is why I am pushing you so hard. Because without that bond, old age becomes an existential crisis. With it, old age can actually be beautiful. It can be two people who have weathered everything together, who know each other's rhythms, who can communicate with a look, who hold hands in silence because words are not needed anymore. That is the prize. That is what you are fighting for. But you only get there by making the right choices now, by becoming the right woman now, by changing your energy and your patterns now, while you still can. Let me address another common concern, because I can feel some of you thinking it. What if I do all this and he still leaves? What if I open my heart and get hurt again? This is the fear that keeps you trapped, the fear of pain. But let me tell you something about pain that you need to understand at a soul level. There are two kinds of pain in life. There is the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. The pain of opening your heart, of risking vulnerability, of trying and possibly failing. This is the pain of discipline. It is temporary. It is manageable. You survive it. You learn from it. You become stronger through it. But the pain of regret? The pain of looking back at your life and knowing you could have had love, but you were too afraid to reach for it. The pain of being alone in your final years because you protected yourself right into isolation. This pain is unbearable. This pain has no remedy, because you cannot go back. You cannot retrieve the opportunities you let pass. They are gone forever. So yes, you might get hurt. You probably will get hurt at some point, because that is part of being human and taking risks. But I promise you, that hurt is nothing compared to the hurt of dying alone, having never really tried, having never really opened yourself, having spent your precious life hiding behind walls that kept you safe, but also kept you from everything that makes life worth living. The Kabbalah teaches us about Tzimtzum, the divine contraction. The Ein Sof, the infinite light, had to contract itself, had to make space, had to limit its own limitlessness in order for creation to exist. In other words, God made himself vulnerable in order to have relationship with us. Think about that. The infinite divine contracted, became vulnerable, risked rejection, all for the possibility of connection. If God can do that, you can risk your heart again. If the source of all creation can make itself vulnerable, you can let down your guard with a good man. Your pain, your past, your fear, none of it exempts you from the fundamental requirement of being alive, which is taking risks for what matters. Now here is something most teachers will not tell you because they are trying to make you feel good. You are not entitled to love. You are not entitled to have someone care for you in old age. These are gifts. These are possibilities you create through right action and right energy. If you are bringing wrong energy, if you are operating from entitlement and complaint and victimhood, you will not receive these gifts. The universe does not reward poor energy with good outcomes. So you need to check yourself. Really check yourself. Are you someone you would want to spend time with? Are you pleasant? Are you grateful? Do you appreciate what is offered, or do you focus on what is lacking? Do you bring light into rooms, or do you drain energy? Are you curious about others, or are you only interested in talking about yourself? Are you flexible or rigid? Are you forgiving, or do you hold grudges? Are you fun, or are you heavy? These are not superficial questions. These go to the core of whether you can actually sustain relationship. Because here's the truth. You can attract a man with your looks or your success or your sexuality. But you keep a man with your character. You keep him by being someone he actually enjoys, someone who adds value to his daily experience, someone he misses when you are not there. And if you have not been that person, if you have been difficult and demanding and critical, now is the time to change. Not fake change, real change, inner work that transforms how you show up in the world. This might mean therapy if you have unresolved trauma. This might mean anger management if you explode regularly. This might mean spiritual practice if you are disconnected from your higher self. Whatever it takes, you do it. Because the alternative, being alone when you are frail and scared, is too terrible to accept. Let me give you a vision now. A vision of what is possible if you do this work. You are 78 years old. You wake up in the morning and there is a man beside you. Maybe not the man you were with when you were young. Maybe someone you met later in life. But he is there. You can hear his breathing. You can reach out and touch his arm. You get up slowly because your body does not move like it used to. And he gets up too, asks if you want tea, starts making breakfast while you sit at the table. You talk about simple things. What is happening with the grandchildren? What show you might watch tonight? Whether you need groceries. Nothing profound. Nothing exciting. Just the comfortable rhythm of two people who know each other, who have chosen each other, who are going through the end of life together instead of alone. He helps you with the things you cannot do anymore. Not with resentment, but with care. Because you have helped him too. You have supported him through his health scares. You have been there for his losses. You have laughed with him and cried with him and built a life with him. This is reciprocity. This is partnership. This is what you can have if you make the right choices now. And when the truly hard times come, when serious illness arrives, or when death approaches as it must for all of us, you will not face it alone. You will have a hand to hold, a presence beside you, someone who says, I am here. I am not going anywhere. Do you understand how priceless this is? Do you understand what a gift this is? This is what is at stake. This is what you are working toward. Not romance, not passion, not butterflies and excitement, but presence, companionship, the profound comfort of not being alone. This is the reward for becoming a woman who can receive love, who can appreciate a good man, who can build something real instead of chasing something perfect. So how do you start? Right now, today, this moment. What is the first step? It is simple. You make a decision. You decide that your old patterns are over. You decide that your defensive stance is no longer serving you. You decide that you are willing to risk your heart one more time. You decide that you will become the kind of woman who can sustain lasting partnership, whatever that requires. And then you take action. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. You update your online profile if you have one. You call that friend who has been trying to set you up. You smile at men you encounter instead of looking away. You say yes to the next invitation. You start practicing receiving. You start noticing good men. You start managing your energy and your emotional state. You start becoming the woman your future self will thank you for being. This is not easy work. I am not pretending it is. Changing deep patterns never is. But it is possible. It is absolutely possible. I have seen women in their 60s completely transform their energy and attract wonderful partners. I have seen bitter women become soft. I have seen closed women become open. I have seen women who swore they would never trust again learn to trust. And these women, they are not alone now. They are building beautiful final chapters. They are ensuring they will be cared for and loved and accompanied through whatever comes. You can be one of them, but only if you choose it, only if you commit to it, only if you do the work instead of just thinking about the work. And if you are sitting there thinking, but what if I do all this and it still does not work out? Then you are asking the wrong question. The right question is, what will definitely happen if I do not try? And the answer to that question is clear. You will end up alone. Guaranteed. 100%. If you do nothing, if you change nothing, if you keep operating from the same energy and same patterns, you know exactly where you are headed. You are headed toward that cold tea and that silent house, and that question you cannot answer. Who will take care of me? So really, there is no choice. There is only the illusion of choice. You either do this work and give yourself a chance at companionship in old age, or you do not and accept the inevitable loneliness. Those are the only two options. The Zohar, the foundational text of Kabbalah that I revealed to the world, speaks about the soul's journey. It speaks about how the soul descends into this world not to suffer, but to complete itself, to perfect itself, to learn the lessons that can only be learned through human relationship and human experience. Your soul chose to be here. Your soul chose this life. And one of the primary lessons your soul needs to learn is how to love and be loved, how to connect deeply, how to overcome the barriers that separate us from each other. If you go through this entire life without learning that lesson, without actually experiencing sustained intimacy and partnership, you have missed something fundamental. You have missed one of the main reasons you came here. And your soul knows this. That ache you feel, that loneliness even when you are busy, that sense that something is missing, that is your soul crying out for the connection it came here to experience. You can ignore that cry. You can distract yourself from it. You can build walls against it. But it will not go away. It will only get louder as you age and the distractions fall away, and you are left face to face with the truth of your isolation. Or you can answer that cry. You can say, yes, I do need connection. Yes, I do want partnership. Yes, I am willing to be vulnerable and risk and change and grow in order to have it. And when you make that choice, when you really commit to it, the universe begins to support you. Opportunities appear, the right people show up. Things shift in ways you could not have orchestrated. This is how the divine works. When you align yourself with truth, with cosmic law, with your soul's true purpose, you are supported. But you have to take the first step. You have to be the one who chooses differently. God, the universe, the Ein Sof, it all responds to your choice, but it cannot choose for you. Free will is the one thing even the infinite respects absolutely. So choose. Choose right now. Close your eyes for a moment and choose. Are you going to keep doing what you have been doing, or are you going to change? Are you going to stay protected and alone? Or are you going to risk your heart and potentially find real love? Are you going to listen to your fears? Or are you going to listen to your soul? The answer to that question determines everything. It determines whether you are cared for in old age or abandoned. It determines whether you die with someone holding your hand or alone in a facility. It determines whether your final years are full of companionship and shared memory or empty and silent. Everything pivots on this choice. And I am here telling you, choose love, choose vulnerability, choose partnership, choose the risk. Because the alternative is too terrible, and you are too precious to waste your remaining years in self-protective isolation. You have value. You have beauty. Not just physical beauty, though you may still have that too, but soul beauty, experience, depth, the capacity to love deeply if you allow yourself. These are gifts. These are offerings you can bring to a relationship. But you have to believe in your own value. You have to know that you have something worth giving. If you show up feeling worthless or too old or used up or damaged, that energy will repel men. But if you show up knowing, I have lived I have learned I have depth and wisdom and capacity for real love. That energy is magnetic at any age. So rewrite the story you are telling yourself. Stop the narrative about being too old or too damaged or too late. Start a new narrative. I am becoming the woman who attracts lasting love. I am learning to receive. I am opening my heart. I am ready for partnership. Speak this out loud. Write it down. Say it until you believe it. Because your internal narrative creates your external reality. This is Kabbalistic truth. The words you speak have creative power. They shape your world. And then live into that new story. Act like the woman who is preparing to meet her partner. Take care of yourself. Not obsessively, but with respect for the vessel you inhabit. Dress in ways that make you feel good. Move your body. Feed yourself well. Take care of your appearance not to be perfect, but to signal that you value yourself. Men notice this. They notice women who care for themselves versus women who have given up. Stay engaged with life. Have interests. Have passion for something. Have curiosity. Men are attracted to women who are alive, who have their own thing going on, who are not just waiting to be rescued or filled up by relationship. Paradoxically, you need to have a life of your own in order to successfully share your life with someone. Emptiness is not attractive. Fullness that wants to expand through connection is attractive. And be willing to move. If you live in an area where meeting available men is difficult, consider relocating. This might sound extreme, but what is more extreme? Moving to a new place or spending your final decades alone? Some women move to communities with better ratios of single men. Some move to be closer to family and social opportunities. Some move to climates that encourage outdoor activity and social connection. Be strategic. Your environment matters enormously. One more thing I need to address, because I can feel the resistance coming from some of you. But I am happy alone. I like my independence. I do not need all this. And maybe that is true for you. Maybe you are one of the rare souls who genuinely thrives in solitude. But I have to tell you, in all my years, in all my work with human souls, I have met very few people who are genuinely happy alone in old age. Very few. Most people who say this are defending against vulnerability. They are protecting against disappointment. They are making a virtue out of what is actually fear. True spiritual masters can be alone and complete. Yogis in caves, monks in monasteries. People who have transcended the needs of the ego and live in constant connection with the divine. But if you were one of those people, you would not be listening to this. You would be in your practice beyond the needs of human relationship. The fact that you are here, listening to me, engaging with these ideas, means some part of you knows you need this teaching. Some part of you knows you are not fully satisfied with solitude. Listen to that part. It is telling you the truth. We are almost done now. But I need to give you one final teaching. The most important teaching. Everything I have shared with you today comes down to this one principle. Love is a practice, not a feeling. You have been waiting to feel ready, to feel healed, to feel certain, to feel the butterflies and magic and certainty that this is the right person. But those feelings are unreliable. They come and go. They are influenced by chemistry and mood and projections. Real love, lasting love, is not primarily about feelings. It is about practice. It is about showing up day after day. It is about choosing to appreciate even when you do not feel like it. It is about choosing to receive even when your defenses want to close. It is about choosing to stay even when it would be easier to run. Love is a verb, not a noun. It is something you do, not something you have. And anyone can practice it. Anyone can choose it, including you. Right now, today. You can start practicing love even before you meet someone. You practice by being kind to the cashier, by appreciating beauty when you see it, by opening your heart to the moment instead of staying locked in your head, by receiving compliments, by letting people help you, by noticing good men. All of this is practice. All of this prepares you. And then when you meet someone with potential, you keep practicing. You practice appreciation. You practice patience. You practice kindness. You practice receiving. You practice forgiveness. You practice showing up. Day after day after day. And that practice, that commitment to the practice, that is what builds lasting partnership. Not the initial attraction, not the romantic feelings, not the perfect compatibility, the practice. This is what the women who are alone did not understand. They waited for it to feel right. They waited for it to be easy. They waited for perfection. And while they waited, life passed them by. The women who have beautiful partnerships in old age, they chose imperfect men and practiced love with them until it became real, until it became deep, until it became unbreakable. So stop waiting. Stop preparing. Stop healing. Stop finding yourself. Start practicing. Find a decent man and practice loving him. See what happens. See what grows. See what is possible when you commit to the practice instead of demanding the feeling. This is my final word to you. You are running out of time. Not to be cruel, not to panic you, but because it is true. The window is closing. The options are narrowing. And if you do not act now, decisively and courageously, you will find yourself in that future we talked about at the beginning. Cold tea, silent house, no one coming through the door. And the terrible, terrible question, how did I get here? You got there by waiting, by protecting, by demanding perfection, by choosing fear over love, by prioritizing your comfort over your growth, by not taking seriously the reality that time moves in one direction and does not care about your readiness. But you can still change the story. Right now, this moment. You can decide that this teaching reached you at exactly the right time, that you will heed the warning, that you will change your energy and your patterns, that you will become the woman who attracts and sustains lasting love, that you will do whatever it takes to ensure you are not alone in your final years. Make that decision now. Commit to it. And then take one action today. Just one. Update a profile. Make a call. Smile at someone. Say yes to something. Start the practice. Begin the journey. Change your trajectory before it is too late. I am Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. I have seen the deepest mysteries. I have accessed the highest realms. And I tell you with absolute certainty, you need love. You need connection. You need partnership. This is not weakness. This is human design. This is divine will. And you can have it if you choose it, if you practice it, if you commit to it now. The choice is yours. The time is now. Do not waste it.